Mid-Maryland Votes is a place for ideas, not insults, where real conversations can happen. On this episode, we sit down with retired detective Greg Alton and Nink Myers of Justice's S.A.K.E, a nonprofit founded after the tragic murder of a 4-month-old baby named Justice. Greg investigated that case and helped secure a conviction, and now both are working to prevent abuse through education and awareness. Now let's get into it. Welcome to Mid-Maryland Votes. I am your host, Mark Flynn. With me is my co-host,
Ethan Lowen.
And we have two very distinguished guests tonight. We have Greg Alton and Nink Myers.
I'm Greg Alton, board of directors for Justice's S.A.K.E.
I'm Nink Myers. Yes, I'm the vice president of the board for Justice's S.A.K.E.
You're here for a very important cause, guys, and we don't want to make light of that. But Nink, I have to ask you about your first name because everybody's going to want to know.
It's really Richard. All the legal documents say Richard. I was named after my father. You can call me Richard. That's totally fine too.
No, I love Nink. I just want to know what the history of it is.
I don't know, guys.
I mean, did it involve beer? Was beer involved in the naming?
No, actually, since I was a little child.
For Justice's sake, what is your purpose? Why have you chosen that name?
Well, my grandson's name was Justice, and obviously we lost Justice in 2007 to a very, very horrendous child abuse case, and so that's how the name kind of come about. And Greg was the arresting officer in this case, and that's how we became close. And he joined our board and everything also because he challenged us. He challenged us because we had a lot of anger and a lot of build up in there. And we had a meeting one day with Greg, and he was like, you guys should really do something positive with all your energy and not just be negative, not be just hateful and things of that nature. So he's the one that actually, put the bug in our ear about, maybe we should do something here. And so, yeah, we decided to start petitioning the state to change the laws as it relates to child abuse resulting in death. It took us quite a few years to, back when Justice passed away, you could abuse a child and get up to 25 years. If the child died, they literally only tacked them 5 more years. So the maximum penalty for child abuse resulting in death in 2007 was 30 years. Because you can't prove intent and premeditation to get murder charges. Because in most cases, people just snap. They just, go off on a, whatever. And not that it's okay, but that's just what tends to happen. All the way back then, we started going down to Annapolis and trying to make that difference. So it took us a couple of years. Finally got it to up to 40 years. And then I believe it was 2016, they rolled it into a justice reform bill, and it actually is now child abuse resulting in death up to life.
Well, we appreciate you being on the show. We know this is a very painful experience for your entire family, and we appreciate you coming on to try to educate people of child abuse in the homes. Greg, can you explain your involvement in the situation in the case, and then how you became an advocate?
So I was the lead detective on the case. Got to know the family real well, and like Nink said, just had a meeting one night with them because I could see their anger, and just said, well, let's try to take something to make a positive out of this tragedy. And then they took it from there, and they're still fighting today. They are my heroes. That family is my hero. They are my heroes. And we have Ashley, who's Justice's mom.
We had her on, but previously on the episode.
Yes, and then you have Dee, who was Justice's grandmother.
Justice was actually murdered by the primary caregiver. Is that true? Or
no? Actually, he was my daughter's boyfriend at the time, and he was basically left in charge of the child while she was getting a bath at the end of the evening, and that's when he did it, and basically put him back in his crib. Just left him there. He was shaken baby syndrome, but he also had a skull fracture from ear to ear. It was one of the most horrendous cases the doctor at Johns Hopkins ever seen in like 40 years.
And so they took your grandson to Johns Hopkins in order to save his life. And
Try, yes.
And how long was he at Johns Hopkins for?
Basically 2 days. And After the first day, they pretty much told us that there could be run some tests the next day, and if they don't see, these results that they're looking to see, that it's pretty much, have to make that decision. So
So sorry to hear that.
That's a decision that no parent should have to make.
Yep. And Greg, you were the lead detective, and how long were you in law enforcement for?
At that time, I had been on the sheriff's office for 9 years sworn. I started as a dispatcher in 94.
And in my experience, and I want to know from your experience, but it seems that during the course of my lifetime, I have noticed an increase in child abuse and the severity of it. I believe the most current statistics are approximately 17, 18% of children experience some form of child abuse on an annual basis. In your experience, have you noticed a trend, a change in how child abuse occurs in society?
I think it's more along the lines of raising awareness to it, being reported more. A lot of times it stayed behind closed doors, and now people are stepping up more for the children and bringing it to the forefront.
What happened next? What did you on the law enforcement side do as time went on?
So then we obviously ended up charging Floyd Bingaman with the murder, went to trial, and he was convicted, found guilty of child abuse resulting in death.
Did he plead guilty or did he plead innocent?
He pled innocent. It was a trial.
So he didn't even have the common decency to just to let the family off the hook. They made him go all the way to the wire.
he has used all of his, appeals and or whatever else you can think of along those lines, and he has never owned up to it.
He's never shown any remorse at all, Nink? None.
None. Evil, just evil.
And so how did you guys take this tragedy, this pain, and as you referenced earlier, how did you funnel it?
Oh wow. Let's see. So I've kind of been involved in the local music scene for a very long time. On the backside, I'm not on stage. I'm not a musician. I used to make noise behind a drum kit when I was young. Realized I wasn't very good at it, but at one point in time, I got involved with the production side of things, and when this happened to Justice, we really didn't have anything. There was nothing. We had my mom she had this real little life insurance policy that she would take out on all of the grandkids, all the kids when they were born and such. But that was it. We had nothing else. But because I was involved in local music and community, these people are amazing. They as a group decided they wanted to do a fundraiser, and we literally did it on like a really snowy Sunday afternoon. We had I think we had 3 or 4 bands that day. They all showed up in the snow. We had probably 150 people show up on a bad snowy day just to help raise money to take care of the things that needed to be taken care of. And it actually kind of stirred something in us. It was like, oh, wow. So as time has gone on, we're now about ready to do our 18th annual, what we call Rock Me, Don't Shake Me. Rock Me, Don't Shake Me, Musicians Against Child Abuse. So our foundation has become the backbone of it, but it's really the musicians that do this. We're just the people to kind of organize it, so to speak. And it's outgrown every bar, every club, anything you can think of in this area, to the point that we now do it at Antietam Brewery as an outdoor event. Over the last 2 or 3 years, we've been getting right around 2,000 people through the gates, and we are historically raising right around $40,000 or better each year that we then work with. See, we can do these sort of things. We can't go in and actually help these kids. We tend to partner with organizations that can do that. Different areas where we can find, to be able to do that. So the word S.A.K.E at the end of Justice's name stands for supporting all kids endlessly. And so that's what we try to do. We just try to, bring awareness to what's going on, get people together, celebrate, have a good time, raise awareness, all that good stuff. So again, try to take something that was really bad and do something positive with it.
Now, we learned in the last episode that, as you stated, Justice S.A.K.E actually does a lot of funding for lots of different agencies in the Washington County agency area that benefits children. Can you guys to highlight some of those?
Absolutely. So it actually did start as raising awareness to child abuse, but now, we've expanded to helping children in whatever kind of way we can help them. We pay for summer camps to send kids to summer camp. We buy necessities that kids need, like socks. I know that sounds simple, but socks are one of the biggest things that are in demand for children.
Is you actually changed a law related to the case. Can you explain the process you went about changing a law, which sounds like a big deal, and what was the law that was changed?
Basically, whenever it happened, and obviously with talking to Greg and Greg's recommendation, you guys need to do something positive with us. I actually went to a town hall meeting at S.A.K.E, and I met Christopher Shank. Christopher Shank at the time was a House of Delegate representative for the area. He'd had heard about the case, but didn't know all the details and stuff like that. So right away, Chris Shank, he's like, okay, can we get the family together and let's talk about this. Let's see what we can do. This is something I would really like to get behind. To me, I was at a point where I was like, can we get the death penalty? I was beyond myself, and he's like, well, that's not going to happen, I said, well, can we get life? They said, well, you can try. So initially we were petitioning to have it be up to life at that point. 3 years, Greg, before they even brought it out for a vote.
Yeah, kept it in the drawer.
That was when Chris had then moved to the Senate, and we had Neil Parrott at the House of Delegates backing it. And Chris called us up one day, and he's like, I think I can get some movement if we're willing to adjust the bill. And we adjusted to say up to 40 years, and maybe we can get this thing through the Senate, which would then put some pressure on the House to bring it out for a vote. I try not to say this any worse than it sounds, but there was a gentleman that was the chairman of the board at the judiciary on the House side, defense attorney by trade. So a bill like this made his personal life more difficult. And for quite some time, he didn't even want to vote on it. So we literally had to get it through the Senate for him to feel enough pressure to get it out to vote on it. It's a mess down there, fellas. It's a mess. Sometimes, just makes you wonder what these guys do for a living, But yeah, so like I said, it just took a little while. It was obviously called Justice's Law. The awareness side of it, the child abuse awareness side, is obviously that's our backbone. But, we still are in it just to try to help kids anywhere and everywhere we can.
Can you go into a little bit of detail about what your current project is?
All right, so it's the case of Ashley Franklin, the mother who starved her little daughter to death. And I thought, in all my years of law enforcement, you couldn't shock me anymore. I thought I'd seen it all, but this one shocked me. You had a situation where law enforcement did its job, State Attorney's Office did their job, the jury did their job. It went to a 3-day jury trial. Jury found her guilty of all charges, but the judge allowed her to go free pending sentencing, gave her a bond. As crazy as that sounds, that's allowable. So that's the law. That's the loophole that we're trying to close.
This judge deemed her to not be a flight risk, knowing that she was facing a serious prison sentence.
And the fact that she had already fled once. She fled after she was served with her warrant, picked up on the charges, served with her warrant. She made bond on that. She was given a bond on that. She made bond. And then she fled, and she was on the run for, I think, 9 months or something like that.
Has she been taken back into custody?
Yeah, she's still free.
Wow.
Still free somewhere.
And of course, she has no reason. Her every impetus at this point is to do everything she can to stay on the run. Nothing good can come of this for her future at this point.
Right, and she was sentenced in absentia to 100 years. I'm sure she knows that because it was all over the news. So that makes her even more of a threat.
Yeah, anybody facing 100 years in prison is probably not coming back, and will fight anybody and anything to stay out of jail.
Correct.
So this is a terrible decision made by this judge. Is this a Washington County or what district judge or court judge?
Circuit court judge.
It was a Washington County circuit court judge who made this determination.
Yes.
Is this judge also the one that sentenced her in absenteeism?
Yes. He heard the jury trial. He overheard the jury trial. And then he's the one that sentenced her. He's also the one that gave her bond. And it's a decision that I think it boggles everybody's mind. Everybody knew when she bonded out that she was not going to show up for her sentencing date. Everybody
Except the judge.
What you guys were talking about earlier kind of gives us insight into the inner workings of both makings of laws, the justice system. I don't think there's a single person listening who would come to a different conclusion than what you're saying here yourselves. Do we have any idea why the judge said what they said? Is there some kind of underlying factor that kind of gives some insight into this?
Believe it or not, he does have some supporters who supported his decision. And according to them, it was kind of like a tactical decision, a strategical decision, because apparently it takes away her ability to appeal. In a situation like this, the judge shouldn't be doing tactical decisions or strategical decisions. So not only was it a slap in the face of the victim's family, extended family, law enforcement, the state's attorney's office, but imagine sitting on a jury for 3 days and hearing these horrendous details, and then having a judge turn around after you've convicted this person of all charges, and then saying, okay, well, we're going to give you a bond and let you out pending sentencing. So as soon as Ashley heard about this, Ashley being Baby Justice's mother, immediately it was like, oh, no, we're going to fight this. We're going down and we're going to try and change another law. And that's what this family's about. They're never satisfied. They're never going to stop fighting for children.
Yeah, I think that our viewers need to reference the first episode we did with Justice S.A.K.E, where Ashley was on. She's an amazing woman, has been through an incredible event and turned it into something that will make society a better place, hopefully, especially for children.
Nink, that Ashley is your daughter.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Congratulations on being a fantastic father.
Yeah, you guys have you all have been able to do something that really no one else really has. And that was actually to get her on something like this and talk a little bit. She does not like to do this. It's very tough for her. She does very well in a small setting with, obviously our board and things like that. But to actually get her to talk openly about some of this stuff is pretty hard for her. Still sometimes thinks she hasn't fully dealt with the loss of her son, But, she gets by. She does what she needs to do. So.
She's definitely a warrior, and we appreciate her being on. You talked earlier, Nink, about the Rock Me, Don't Shake Me event, the concert event. When will that be coming up?
So we have kind of honed in on the second weekend in June. Historically, we've done things in April, because April's Child Abuse Awareness Month. We do a lot of different events in April. So we used to always do everything in April, but when we could do it indoors. But like I said, we've outgrown that. And doing outdoor events in April, I don't like to do. You never know what the weather's going to be. And, we want to have a good time. We want to have good weather. We want to get as many people out there as we can. So the second weekend in June is where we will be at Antietam Brewery, which is right next to the Sheriff's Department here in Hagerstown. They have a real big, huge parking lot. And it's just a hoot. We just have a good time. This year is our first year where we're actually going to do it as a 2-day event. I'm a rock guy. I love rock and roll music. My daughter wanted me to bring in a country band. I usually book all the bands with my background and stuff. I know a lot of the locals. She wanted a country band, and I was like, I don't know what this is going to go over. I give in. And we booked a country band last year for the first time, and it was pretty well received. So I had to eat a little crow. And so this year we decided we're going to do it as a 2-day event. So we're going to do what we call our country kickoff on Friday. We'll probably have the gates open up by 4:30. First band will go on at 6. We'll have 3 bands on Friday night. on the 12th, June 12th. Then June 13th will be our normal annual rock event, which actually will be 10 bands. Music will start at 12 right after the national anthem.
Wow, that's an awesome and impressive event. And I think it behooves our listeners to be reminded that all of the monies and funds raised from this event are to go right back into the community, helping at-risk children.
Absolutely. And, all the bands donate their time. We don't pay for any of it. I have a waiting list of bands that want to play. It's a good thing.
Can people buy tickets in advance, Nink, or do they have to buy them at the door?
Nope. That's the interesting part also. It's donation at the gate to get in. I've had many people try to tell me, I want you to sell tickets. I want you to sell tickets. I hate to put a number on it. I might be a little short that week and can only put $5 in that box to come through the door, where the guy behind me might be in a much better place and he might put $50 in there. But if I say it's a $10 donation at the gate to get in, that's all you're going to get. It's $10. So we just, from the very beginning, it's always been a donation.
So it's donation to get in, then a cash bar and food?
Yeah, so obviously they're 18 and brewery. They have their craft beers, but then they also have all the other different things you might like, from wine to liquor and things of that nature. They have food there. We have food trucks there also. There's always things for kids to do. It's an all ages event. It's pet friendly. It's outdoors. We don't really turn anybody away. Come on in. Have fun with us.
But what you guys do is obviously invaluable. I mean, many people may be thinking, and rightly so, what about Child Protective Services? Shouldn't they be covering these issues? And the simple reality of the situation is that many of our government functions, including Child Protective Services, are working 24/7. Their caseloads are huge. Always been a role for charity. There's always been a need for charity, and you guys are helping to fill that need. You are, as the saying goes, doing the Lord's work. Thank you for the efforts that you guys are obviously putting in every day and making our community and our world a better place.
We appreciate that. I'd like to piggyback on something Nink said, and then something you just mentioned, Ethan, if that's okay.
Sure.
So we are currently there selling raffle tickets for the Rock Me Don't Shake Me event. So we have two big raffle baskets that we raffle off. The tickets are $10 a piece. You actually get two chances for each ticket that you purchase. It's mostly gift cards and then cash also involved. We have businesses that donate the gift cards and everything to us. We're currently in the middle of another fundraiser where we basically light up downtown Hagerstown blue. Lights and signs. People can purchase signs for $35. A business can purchase them. You can purchase them. An individual can purchase them to honor somebody or in memory of somebody. And then we just put the signs and the lights up downtown. We do flags and pinwheels for April, all at different locations throughout the county. So we're in the middle of a lot of things going on right now.
So, Greg, if people wanted to purchase these raffle tickets or the signs that, Churn Hagerstown Blue signs, where would they go about doing that?
They can contact any of the board members, or we have a Facebook where you can purchase the signs. We have a link through there that you can order the signs.
And you can also, like for the raffle tickets, there's a lot of local places that you can go and buy them physically. BJ's Embroidery, they're one of our co-sponsors for a lot of things. Pro Pools, Bella Salons. If somebody reaches out to me, I'll meet them somewhere to sell them a ticket. Whatever. So these raffle tickets, like Greg mentioned, we draw two of them. The first one is guaranteed $2,500 between cash and gift cards, gift certificates. $500 that in cash. The second ticket we draw is guaranteed at over $1,000, and that's $250 in cash, and the rest is in gift cards. And on the day of the event, there'll be probably 10 door prize raffle tickets right inside, where you can buy chances on them. And like I said, the money that we raise, it's all through this type of effort. Donations at the gate, the big basket raffles, all the little raffles. We do a couple like 50/50s and things like that all on that day. So we're actually hoping adding Friday night to it this year will take us maybe to another level on that. So we'll see.
Well, we definitely are in your corner, gentlemen. We appreciate you coming out.
We appreciate you having us.
You know, Nink, I know as a grandfather, I know Justice's, life, although tragically short, has a huge impact on the kids of Maryland. And we appreciate you turning this pain into an incredible event that can benefit so many.
I think we're getting a little bit known in the area. We hope to continue to grow that. We got some events coming up this year with the boxcars and things like that as a way to help kids. I mean, we're just trying to find ways to make a difference in a child's life. If we can reach one child and have them understand what's happening to them isn't normal and natural, get out of that situation, then everything that we've done is well worth it. So, yeah.
So our viewers or anybody who is interested in helping out can find For Justice's Sake on the Facebook page, and there's various ways and information that they can help.
Yeah, it's actually, I'm going to correct you because my daughter does this. It's actually Justice's Sake, not For Justice's Sake.
Just remember, she corrected me on the last show, too.
It's one of her pet peeves. It's actually just Justice's Sake.
I'm sorry. Justice's Sake.
There are all the above. There's a website, justicesake.com. There's the Facebook Justice's Sake page. And then there's also the Rock Me Don't Shake Me Facebook page.
Well, Nink, Greg, we appreciate you guys being here. I can tell you that Justice's Sake gets the full support of Mid-Maryland Votes anytime, any place. If you want to come back on and plug the events, we would love to have you.
We appreciate it, guys.
Then we do that leading up to June.
This has been Mark Flynn with Mid-Maryland Votes. As always, my co-host.
Ethan Lowen.
And we want to thank Nink and Greg for coming out and joining us. As we talked about in the comments section, you'll find links to Justice's Sake. Please look them up and help out in any way you can. Thanks again for being here, and we'll see you next time on Mid-Maryland Votes.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That wraps up our conversation with Greg Alton and Nink Myers of Justice's Sake. Out of unimaginable loss, Justice's family and Detective Alton turned grief into purpose, building something that now protects children and helps prevent abuse before it happens. The upcoming Shake Me Not Rock Me fundraiser is a chance to be a part of that mission. If you believe real conversations matter, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and we'll see you next time on Mid-Maryland Votes.